kondisi ini tuh bukan kondisi yang negatif, jadi kondisi yang memang positif. Jadi pantang menyerah, terus jalan, nyalain terus mimpi dalam hatimu, dalam pikiranmu. Karena mimpi itu yang akan membawa lu menjadi seseorang besar nantinya. Gitu. Cuma berangkat dari mimpi.
Jangan ngeluh kalau lu nggak bisa ngubah. Itu aja. Jadi kalau misalnya lu melihat problem, lu lakukan sesuatu untuk mengubahnya. Kalau misalnya lu nggak bisa, lu harus bersahabat atau cari solusi yang lebih baik.
Coba aja dulu, tapi dengan strategi.
Dalam mendevelop itu jangan dibikin rumit dari awal gitu ya. Bikin simple dari awal, maka kedepannya akan lebih mudah untuk berkembang.
Welcome to our viewers in Indonesia and across the world. Thank you for joining us on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today. It's the very first day of the second month of 2024. There's a trend in social media that says the first month is only the trial. It's a free trial. So whatever resolutions you have, it starts today. Now for the next 3 hours, we're ready to bring you the latest from Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and around the world. I'm your host for today, Kai Surya. With me are Hiliani Hidranto and Muhammad Akhir.
Hello.
Hello.
I agree with what you said. So January is just a trial, right?
You get serious in February,
All right.
and then in March, and then in April.
I do agree with you guys because I saw that meme on one of my friends'
Yeah.
social media. And, okay, I do agree with that. Like, it's been just like I don't feel like yeah, January just
It
fly
just
away.
flew by, right? Wow.
Exactly. So now we're ready for the month of February. Hello, everyone. My name is Hiliani Hidranto. Welcome to the 3-Hour News Show. Later on in the show, I'll bring you the latest from the world of sports. Today, we have updates from the NBA, EPL, and also an update from a surfing legend. So make sure you stick around. And for now, please follow us on X, Instagram, and YouTube at See Today News for the latest updates. And with us today is our money man for today, Ahir, for the latest from the business world.
Yes, thank you, Yani. My name is Muhammad Akhir, and we will take a look at market and business updates, of course, from Indonesia, the region, and elsewhere around the world. But first, let's take a look at what made the top stories for today.
We'll start in Indonesia. Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal, and Human Rights Affairs, Mahfud MD, will submit his resignation letter to President Joko Widodo.
In See Today Business, the Indonesia Crypto Outlook 2024 revealed that crypto trading in Indonesia had fallen by 50% in 2023 compared to the previous year.
In sports, surfing legend Kelly Slater advanced the round of 32 at the WSL season opening Pipeline Pro in Hawaii in his return to competition after hip surgery.
And stay tuned for our final hour, our signature segment, See the Stories. We'll have a chat about understanding a generation that lacks patience from a neuropsychology perspective. And stay tuned for that conversation. Parents, you might want to take notes. I thought it was my generation too. I felt like I was very impatient when I was growing up.
Right.
But is that?
When we are being a parent, actually, we're sometimes impatient as well. Right?
Yeah.
That would be me,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm impatient, so I'm very interested to find out the perspective, that neuropsychological. So is there a you know, as a biological link to why this particular generation
Yeah.
might lacks patience?
But I think it always come, not always, it can also come with the issue of is it only for the Gen Z as well, for the impatient generation? Because I don't know, maybe again, us as a parent should ask this, not only for us, but also for our children.
Certainly. What is the definition of impatience? Now we'll have that discussion in the third hour, but we'll start straight away with some world news as we take you to the Middle East, where the World Health Organization and its partners have delivered essential medical supplies to the Nasser Hospital in the Gaza Strip.
According to the WHO, the medical supply should cater for only around 1,000 patients at the crowded medical center in Khan Yunis. The organization and its partners also plan to drop off food supplies, but the delivery was delayed by checkpoint holdups.
Officials at Nasser Hospital say the medical team at the complex is currently treating some 400 patients. Doctors say they are struggling to provide proper care as there is a dire shortage of essentials such as gauze and antibiotics. They are unable to clean tools and must often reuse equipment that has not been sterilized properly on more than one patient.
The facility has run out of beds, and patients are often treated sitting in chairs or on the floors. According to the head of the surgical department, most of the patients suffered serious wounds during Israeli strikes. Most of them had to undergo abdomen, chest, brain, and limb surgery.
The hospital also houses scores of displaced who have sought shelter at the medical facility. They moved to the complex in the hope it would not become a target of Israel's military operation against Hamas militants.
حاليا في مجمع ناصر الطبي في نقص كبير في اكثر من شغله نتيجه الحصار المفروض علينا. في عندنا نقص في الادوات الطبيه، الجوز، الشاش ما في. بنحاول بقد ما نقدر انه نفس الجوز نعمل فيه اكثر من شغله. في عندنا نقص في صواني التفريز، كثير في عندنا نقص فيها الصينيه الوحده بنستعملها باكثر من شغله. احنا اللي بنعقم ما في مكان للطاقه.
Now it seems like aid has become even more scarce as Palestinians have expressed concern on Wednesday over the suspension of humanitarian aid delivery by the UNRWA in Gaza, emphasizing the potentially severe and catastrophic impact.
The UN agency has been the main supplier of food, water, and shelter to civilians during the Gaza genocide.
UNRWA has been facing repercussions following Israel's allegations that 12 of its employees were involved in the October 7 Hamas attack. In response to these accusations, the US and several other nations have cut off funding, igniting a debate over Gaza's biggest humanitarian aid provider. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees employs thousands of staff and delivers essential aid and services to millions across the Middle East.
It contends that the entire agency should not be penalized for the alleged actions of a few workers will be held accountable. The UN has further called on donors to resume funding immediately.
A coalition of 28 groups, including the Norwegian Refugee Council, Oxfam, and Save the Children, are also advocating for the restoration of funding, saying UNRWA's delivery of humanitarian assistance cannot be replaced. The United States, the agency's largest donor, initiated the funding cut over the weekend, a move followed by more than a dozen other countries. They collectively provided more than 60% of UNRWA's budget in 2022.
مصيبة كبرى وكارثة الوضع. هي يعني حتى الوكالة هي الجهة الوحيدة الداعمة للشعب الفلسطيني، وهي اللي عندها الإمكانية لتقديم المساعدة. فقطع الدعم عنها يعني قاطع الدعم عن الشعب الفلسطيني، وبالتالي الأوضاع السيئة حتسوء أكثر.
تقليص خدمات الأنورا في غزة بسكر كارثة كبرى على السكان الموجودين هون. هو بوقت السلم كان 70% عايشين على مساعدات الأنورا ومدارس الأنورا وتعليم ببلاش وصحة ببلاش، فما بالك لما يتم تقليص دول كثيرة قلصت المساعدات اللي بيتم تقديمها للأنورا.
German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock reiterated on Wednesday the need for the improvement of humanitarian aid for the people in Gaza.
Irgendwie soll das jetzt jemand anders machen. In der jetzigen Situation ist irgendwie halt keine Antwort. Und daher haben wir gegenüber den Vereinten Nationen deutlich gemacht, sie sind jetzt in der Verantwortung. Wir wissen, dass 1,9 Millionen Menschen auf diese humanitäre Hilfe angewiesen sind. Wir wissen, dass das, was derzeit da ist, nur noch für ein paar Wochen reicht. Deswegen haben wir unsere Mittel für das Rote Kreuz und UNICEF erhöht. Aber diese Mittel müssen verteilt werden. Und daher ist es so essentiell, dass die UN jetzt in den nächsten Aufgaben ihrer Verantwortung nachkommt und das Untersuchungsverfahren einleitet und parallel dazu, abgesprochen mit unseren europäischen Partnern, einen unabhängigen Audit von UNRWA, wo auch europäische Akteure mit beteiligt sind. Das Leid ist unerträglich, aber wegschauen ist für uns keine Option. Wir können nicht ignorieren, dass Kinder ohne Narkosemittel derzeit amputiert werden. Wir können nicht ignorieren, dass ein einjähriges Kind nach wie vor in der Gefangenschaft von Hamas ist. Deswegen arbeiten wir weiter daran, alles Konkrete jeden Tag in diesen Tagen zu tun, verlieren die großen Linien der Außenpolitik nicht aus den Augen. Aber ich glaube, unsere humanitäre Verantwortung in unserem eigenen Interesse ist es jetzt, unser Vertrauen weiterhin auszubauen, verlässlicher Partner zu sein für die Menschen vor Ort. Denn Vertrauen ist in diesen Zeiten kein nice to have. Es ist die Grundlage dafür, dass wir in dieser Welt der Zeiten, wenn denn, überhaupt noch handeln können. Herzlichen Dank.
Meanwhile, South Africa's foreign minister said on Wednesday that Israel has already ignored the ruling against it last week by the United Nations top court by continuing to kill civilians in Gaza, while her country has also asked why an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has not been issued. This comes in another case South Africa has brought at the separate International Criminal Court.
Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor said that South Africa would now look at proposing other measures to the global community to stop Israel's killings of civilians in the Gaza Strip without going into detail on what those measures might be.
A top official in her ministry has said that South Africa hopes that the ruling issued by the UN's International Court of Justice on Friday on whether Israel is abiding by it might now be discussed on a wider level at the United Nations, possibly as early as Wednesday.
The court's preliminary ruling in South Africa's case accusing Israel of genocide in its 4-month military offensive in Gaza ordered Israel to do all it can to prevent death, destruction, and any acts of genocide against Palestinians in their own land. It stopped short of ordering an Israel ceasefire, which South Africa was seeking.
I can't be dishonest. I believe that the rulings of the court have been ignored by Israel. Hundreds of people have been killed in the last 3-4 days. And clearly Israel believes it has license to do as it wishes. So the world does have to reflect, because we're going to come to a point where we have to think, what do we do to stop such acts occurring? Not just with Israel, but any party in the world. What I felt he didn't answer me sufficiently on was I asked him why he was able to issue an arrest warrant for Mr. Putin and is unable to do so for the Prime Minister of Israel. He couldn't answer and did not answer that question. But I read into some of what he said that the investigations are still underway, and until their conclusion, he cannot pronounce on this matter. So we have taken the opportunity to just establish where we are with respect to the ICC. On UNRWA, I think one of the things we're going to see is all sorts of modifications of negative action against the people of Palestine. And you're going to see it every day. There'll be a different intervention which seeks to undermine, hence our conviction that genocide is underway. And whatever means to achieve it are available to Israel, which we shouldn't forget is an occupying power with a duty to protect those that it has occupied.
Now move on to the next story. Russia and Ukraine have exchanged some 200 prisoners of war, the countries said on Wednesday.
Now, this comes amid tensions stemming from last week's crash of a military transport plane that Moscow has claimed was carrying Ukrainian POWs and was shot down by Kiev's forces.
Some Russian officials had publicly questioned the possibility of future POW swaps after the January 24th crash of the Il-76 plane in Russia's Belgorod region near the border with Ukraine.
Ukraine's Ombudsman for Human Rights, Dmytro Lubinets, said on social media that it was the 50th such exchange since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion nearly 2 years ago, with a total of 3,035 POWs repatriated.
Among the Ukrainians released were members of the Armed Forces, National Guard, Border Service, and National Police. Some of them had been captured while defending Mariupol, Azovstal, and Snake Island.
Moscow had said that 66 Ukrainian POWs had been aboard the military transport that crashed January 24th. Ukrainian officials confirmed that a swap was due to take place that day and was called off, but said Ukraine claimed it has seen no evidence the plane was carrying the POWs.
From United Kingdom, British police said on Wednesday they are hunting for a suspect after several people were injured with a corrosive substance in London.
The Metropolitan Police Force said that 9 people were hurt, including a woman and 2 children, in the incident in the Clapham area.
British police announced on Wednesday that they are actively searching for a suspect following an incident in which several individuals sustained injuries from a corrosive substance in London. The Metropolitan Police Force reported that 9 people, including a woman and 2 children, were harmed in the incident in the Clapham area.
Detective Superintendent Alexander Castle characterized it as a horrific incident. 9 individuals have been taken to the hospital. They were the woman and the 2 children, 3 adults who came to their aid, and 3 police officers.
Tests are underway to determine the cause of the injuries. Castle has mentioned that at this stage, they suspect it could be a corrosive substance. Authorities are actively pursuing a man who was observed fleeing the scene.
And now from Belgium, an initial group of protesting farmers drove into Brussels on tractors in the early hours of Thursday, coinciding with the scheduled meeting of European Union leaders in the Belgian capital.
Well, the farmers were planning to protest outside EU headquarters during Thursday's summit of government leaders. They were expected to get their issues on the summit agenda and get some concessions on both the financial burdens they face and the increased competition from nations as far away as Chile and New Zealand.
The first protesting farmers entered Brussels on tractors early on Thursday as European Union leaders prepared to meet in the capital. Around 50 tractors were in position on Wednesday near the European Parliament in Brussels and were expected to spend the night there before European Union leaders gather for an EU summit on Thursday.
The farmers had intention to demonstrate outside the EU headquarters on the occasion of Thursday's summit involving government leaders. Their objective was to push for the inclusion of their concerns in the summit agenda and secure concessions, addressing both the financial challenges they encounter and the heightened competition originating from countries as distant as Chile and New Zealand.
Farmers blocked more traffic arteries across Belgium, France, and Italy on Wednesday, seeking to disrupt trade at major ports and other economic liveness as they keep pushing to get better prices for their produce and less bureaucracy to do their work. Protests had an immediate impact on Wednesday when the EU's Executive Commission announced plans to shield farmers from cheap exports from wartime Ukraine and allow farmers to use some land that was forced to lie fallow for environmental reasons.
On Tuesday, France came with promises of help from emergency cash aid to controls on imported food. French President Emmanuel Macron has promised to stop a trade deal with South American nations if it hurts farmers so much.
Il y a des gens qui parlent de 1400 tracteurs. Je ne sais pas exactement d'où vient le chiffre, mais je pense qu'il y aura beaucoup de monde. Hein. Il y aura beaucoup de monde. Ouais. Maintenant, à quoi il faut s'attendre? On est des gens civilisés, donc voilà, on vient montrer qu'on n'est pas d'accord et qu'on en a marre. Et le but n'est pas de tout démolir. Hein. Donc, voilà, on vient se montrer. On vient se montrer, essayer de faire passer le message qui n'est pas évident à comprendre pour les gens qui ne sont pas dans le métier, mais ça devient un peu lourd.
Move on to the next story. The United Nations mission in South Sudan yesterday awarded 33 Indonesian police personnel in recognition of their significant contributions during peacekeeping missions.
The awarding ceremony, which took place at the Payam UN House, was attended by Indonesian Police International Relations Division Head Inspector General Krishnamurti.
The United Nations mission in South Sudan, or UNMISS Peacekeeping Mission Authority, recently conferred honors upon 33 Indonesian police personnel serving as individual police officers, or IPOs, at Payam UN House, Juba, South Sudan on January 31st. Indonesian Police International Relations Division Head Inspector General Krishnamurti accepted the award, accompanied with 4 police delegates. The awarding ceremony was witnessed by Indonesian senior liaison officer to the UN. UNMISS Police Commissioner Christina Fossen expressed appreciation for the Indonesian police contributions to the success of the missions. Fossen revealed that Indonesia has made real contributions in UNMISS administrative, capacity building, and operational fields. These contributions include serving as testers for prospective peacekeepers, aiding in casualty evacuation during Malakal conflict back in May 2023, and conducting training for local police. Fossen further highlighted achievements in the operational domain, including the confiscation of weapons from civilians, leading cordon and searches targeting narcotics, and contributing to the intertribal peace campaigns. Appreciation was also given for Indonesian police's involvement in social development activities for local communities. Inspector General Krishnamurti expressed his gratitude to the mission authority for honoring his personnel. He added that Indonesia remains committed to contributing to global peace efforts.
Indonesian Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs Mahfud MD announced yesterday the decision to submit his resignation letter to President Joko Widodo.
This move will allow the vice presidential candidate to fully focus on his campaign run. Reports suggest that the resignation letter will be delivered today upon the president's return from a working visit.
President Joko Widodo, for his part, has responded to news of Mahfud MD's resignation and saying that it is well within his rights to step down.
The president was speaking during an inspection of the Suraji Tirtonegoro Hospital in Klaten yesterday. He added that so far he has not received confirmation about the news, but stressed that the cabinet remains solid.
Pak Budi. Itu hak dan saya sangat menghargai. Sampai detik ini saya belum mendapatkan laporan. Ya.
Kabinet solid, Pak.
Makasih, Pak. Sangat solid. Terima kasih, Pak.
Now, the latest update is that the Secretariat of the President has received a resignation letter and will have live updates in the next hour in this regard. But on that note, we're going for a first quick break in this hour. When we come back, we'll have the latest from Southeast Asia and around the world.
Yes, and of course, later during the hour, I will bring you the latest from the world of business.
And the world of sports by me, of course. So stay with us right here on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya. Kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick.
Point to Manado on the smash. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik ya.
Aduh ya Allah!
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for See Today with Business with me, Caroline.
All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Harus naik satu bukit sampai elevasi gua hari itu nyentuh 4.000-an lah.
I kinda wanna die.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik ya.
Aduh ya Allah!
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different than baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, lebih panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
The
sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week. Here at
Good morning. Good morning. It's like deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for See Today with Business with me, Caroline. All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Welcome back to the 3-Hour News Show with us on See Today. Let's take a look at regional news now. Vietnamese EV manufacturer VinFast has announced plans to expand its operations into the Philippines.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. met with Vingroup Chairman Pham Nhat Vuong and other senior executives during his state visit to Vietnam. Vingroup, the parent firm of VinFast, seek to enhance the availability of electric vehicles in the Philippines and foster the adoption of sustainable energy sources.
The chairman discussed potential collaborations in developing public services such as buses and taxis, along with the initiatives to train students in artificial intelligence and medicine, in addition to the EV sector.
Meanwhile, the Philippines expressed hopes to join the EV battery supply chain business, which aligns with its economic objectives to process minerals domestically and establish a battery factory. Now, this strategic alignment resonates with Vingroup's overarching vision.
Now let's pull you back to Indonesia. It is the very 1st of February, which means we're getting closer to the upcoming general election. So let's now take a look at the latest updates in regards to general election on the 14th of February on Indonesia Votes 2024. So the previous months, the officials have started preparing with all the logistics and things like that. Now I think it's time for security. As we're getting closer, the Indonesian Armed Forces performed an inspection of troops earlier today at the Halim Perdana Kusuma Air Base.
Military personnel were seen taking part in a crowd management simulation, demonstrating their readiness for the upcoming general elections.
The Indonesian Armed Forces has affirmed their full commitment to ensuring a peaceful voting process ahead of the upcoming general elections. Armed Forces Commander General Agus Subianto, along with the chiefs of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, led on Thursday troop inspections at Halim Perdana Kusuma Air Base. The facility is strategically connected virtually to all personnel across Indonesia. A military simulation was also held to demonstrate the armed forces' readiness in safeguarding the electoral process. The training saw troops setting up defensive layers to fend off protesters, employing shields to handle disturbances. In addition, water cannons and tear gas were deployed to address escalated situations. General Subianto has assigned nearly 450,000 personnel to ensure stability and safety during the general elections. He has also ordered all personnel to prepare for various disruption scenarios.
Yang pertama, untuk Pangkotama, Pangdam itu memiliki rencana kontingensi. Ya. Dalam rencana kontingensi itu ada faktor alam dan non-alam yang harus dihadapi. Kalau alam biasanya bencana alam seperti sekarang banjir, kemudian longsor, Gunung Merapi. Itu si Pangkotama mempunyai rencana tersebut, kebutuhan personil dan alat perlengkapan yang dibutuhkan. Kita dari Mabes TNI dan Angkatan mendukung kebutuhan yang diajukan oleh para Pangkotama. Kemudian non-alamnya seperti tadi kita ketahui, kita lihat bersama demo konflik sosial yang kemungkinan terjadi. Ya, jadi setiap wilayah itu punya mapping masing-masing.
The armed forces is actively supporting logistical needs, particularly in remote areas using assets, such as the C-130 Hercules for distribution.
Saya sudah koordinasi dengan Bapak KPU, selalu kita komunikasi tentang pendistribusian logistik pemilu, mudah-mudahan bisa berjalan lancar dengan situasi kondisi yang sekarang curah hujan yang sangat tinggi, kemudian juga terjadi banjir, longsor di beberapa wilayah. Insya Allah kita akan membantu pelaksanaan proses pendistribusian logistik sehingga pada pelaksanaan pencoblosan bisa tepat waktu dan logistik bisa terdistribusi ke seluruh TPS.
The armed forces will be collaborating with the National Police to secure the upcoming election. Furthermore, General Subianto has emphasized his forces' commitment to neutrality. Adin Fatoni and Andre Saputra for Today.
And more on security, the armed forces have affirmed their commitment to safeguarding the electoral process across Indonesia.
Palu Military Regional Command is set to deploy a total of 2,000 personnel to secure some 9,000 polling stations across central Sulawesi. It has also prepared a number of vehicles for the February 14th election.
Special monitoring measures will be imposed in vital points, including Morowali and North Morowali districts, which host foreign nationals. The armed forces have been assisting the General Elections Commission, or KPU, to distribute ballots to a number of islands and mountainous areas.
Semua daerah punya potensi. Semua daerah punya potensi. Tapi yang menjadi prioritas potensi yang kemungkinan, yang diantisipasi, yang menjadi tolak ukur atau pantauan khusus kita, salah satunya di daerah Kabupaten Morowali dan Morowali Utara. Kenapa? Karena di situ banyaknya objek vital nasional, banyaknya penduduk yang datang dari berbagai daerah yang sebagai pekerja, termasuk dari WNA.
Regional Command has deployed some 10,879 personnel to secure voting process. The personnel will reinforce areas prone to security issues, including Puncak Duga, Intan Jaya, Yahukimo, and Pegunungan Bintang.
Speaking during a troop briefing, Military Regional Commander Major General Isaac Pangemanan called on his members to remain neutral and adhere to procedures. The ballot distribution process is currently ongoing in Papua and 3 new autonomous regions.
Apel gelar pengamanan pemilu tahun 2024 yang tinggal beberapa hari lagi. Tentunya kita berharap di sini ya pemilu ini berlangsung aman, damai, lancar semuanya ya. Kita membackup kepolisian dalam pengamanan ini sehingga apapun permasalahan yang di daerah, kita akan bantu backup apa yang sedang dilakukan oleh kepolisian. Sementara tidak, ya kita masih menggunakan pasukan yang ada di situ. Ya kalau kami dari TNI, ya tentunya negara ini negara berdaulat, negara hukum. Yang melanggar hukum, ya kita hukum.
The Indonesian National Police have called on all tribe leaders in South Kalimantan Province to contribute to a conducive environment to peacefully exercise the public's right to vote.
In keeping with Indonesian democracy, the police also encouraged all tribe leaders and communities to foster tolerance, respect and understanding, discourage violence and hoaxes, and resolve electoral disputes for peaceful elections.
The socializing event was joined by representatives from the General Elections Commission, or KPU, and Election Supervisory Agency, or Bawaslu.
Sistem yaitu deklarasi suku-suku yang ada di Provinsi Kalimantan Selatan. Jadi kita mendeklarasikan bahwa Kalimantan Selatan kita adalah bersatu untuk menjelang pemilu. semua suku yang ada di Provinsi Kalimantan Selatan. Kita undang semua dengan inisiasi dari saudara-saudara kita dari Dayak, kalau warga Borneo. Ini mengundang semua suku yang ada di Kalimantan Selatan untuk sama-sama menjaga keamanan, ketertiban di wilayah Kalimantan Selatan menjelang pemilu.
Tanah Datar Elections Commission held a voting simulation earlier today in areas affected by the Mount Marapi eruption.
The event served as a precautionary measure to address potential disruptions during the elections.
The simulation took place at a polling station situated within a tourist spot at the foothills of Mount Marapi. The area may be affected by volcanic eruptions.
As many as 100 polling stations across 5 sub-districts involving over 23,600 voters may need to be relocated should volcanic activities escalate.
Ada musibah erupsi Gunung Merapi dan langsung kita melaksanakan kegiatan ini tepat di titik kaki Gunung Merapi ini di Nagari Pariangan, sehingga diharapkan kita sampai kepada masyarakat, kita mampu untuk melaksanakan seluruh aktivitas kepemiluan tahun 2024 ini.
And those were the election updates, and now we're going for another break.
That's right, we are. And Ahir will deliver some economics and business updates when we return.
Yes, Akir, what do you have for us? Come out, come out.
Okay, ladies, so have you heard something new from Thailand?
From Thailand?
No.
No.
Is it good news? I hope it's good news.
Unfortunately, it's not a kind of good news because Thailand government stated that the country is in a state of recession.
Oh.
Not because of tourism, but because due to the high level of debt in the country. All right, so stay alert with this issue. So I'll deliver the complete issue after the break. And also we will take a look at some business updates from Indonesia and beyond. So please stay here only on the 3-Hour News Show, only on See Today.
China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupan County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Kind of 10 days, the priority has been getting to California and making the miles, saving our money as best we can.
We're going to ride 80 miles tomorrow. We've just ridden 70 and we're all starving.
Took the first couple of corners and felt pretty comfortable, so I thought I might get it.
So that was just too much rear brake, stalled the engine.
The end of the first day of competition.
The winner of the challenge today was Brody.
Revealed today by generations unborn when they weaved their spell. The Cup of Dreams. It's football's biggest prize on the greatest stage.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week. Here at
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with the sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for See Today with Business with me, Caroline. All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different than baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Hello and welcome back to the program. It's time for C2D Business and you're still with me, Muhammad Aid, our first story. Thailand's Deputy Finance Minister said that the country is in a state of recession, mostly due to the high level of debt in the country. Southeast Asia's second largest economy has been slowing since last year, and the country's Deputy Finance Minister Julapun Amorn Vivat confirmed on Monday, or yesterday, that Thailand is now in a state of recession. Deputy Finance Minister said that this has been caused by a situation where the household debt burden is high. He added that both the people's debt burden is high and that the private sector debt burden is also high. Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin also stated last week that their economy is not doing well and is in crisis. Both consumer and private sector debt have been exacerbated by high interest rates, and last September, the Bank of Thailand hiked its key interest rate for the 8th consecutive time to the highest level in a decade. Last year, Thailand's economic growth slowed to 1.8%, down from 2.6% in 2022. Meanwhile, from Indonesia, state-owned enterprise and private banks have begun disclosing their 2023 fiscal year report starting last week. Most of the reports underline encouraging performance among the banks.
Bank Negara Indonesia or BNI reported on January 26th that the company gained 21.11 trillion rupiah of consolidated net profit from overall 2023, growing 14.2% compared to the year before. The surge of net profit comes as fee-based income grew 3.93% to 10.12 trillion rupiah, while the bank's other revenues also increased 26% to 6.09 trillion rupiah. BNI will transfer 20.9 trillion rupiah of the consolidated net income to the main entity, which will be used as the base to pay dividends. BNI shares jumped nearly 7% since the start of 2024, reaching the highest of all time at 5,800 rupiah per share, and then closed at 5,750 on January the 31st. The share also grew 26% the same period in 2023. Meanwhile, Bank Rakyat Indonesia or BRI also reported a positive performance in 2023 by gaining consolidated net profit for 60.43 trillion rupiah, marking a 17.5% growth compared to 2022. This record achieved with the support of good corporate governance, both in business and operational, growing number of credit, third-party funds collection, and efficiency through digital transformation. BRI Bank net income grew 11.12% to 53.15 trillion rupiah, while net interest income increased 8.5% to 135.18 trillion rupiah. BRI share grew 0.44% since 2024 started and closed at 5,700 during the trading session at the end of January. BRI share also grew 21.79% the same period last year. Following the trends, Bank Mandiri also reported a positive results in 2023 by gaining consolidated net profit for 55.1 trillion rupiah, or grow 33.7% than 2022, and the highest net income since the bank started 25 years ago. Bank Mandiri achieved this record after gaining impressive performance through credit distribution that grew 16.3% to 1,398.1 trillion rupiah, and growing net interest income for 9.08% to 9.89 trillion rupiah. Bank Mandiri share jumps almost 9% since 2024 started, reaching the highest of all time in 6,700 per share, and then closed at 6,650 on January 31st. The share also grew 37.11% compared to the end of January last year. Meanwhile, Bank Central Asia, or BCA, as the biggest private bank in Indonesia, gained consolidated net profit for 48.6 trillion rupiah in 2023, growing 19.4% than a year before. The growing net profit achieved through expansion of credit volume, improving the loan quality, higher yield, as well as fee and commission income that go in line with increasing transactions. BCA share jumps closed at 9,550 per share on January 31st, or grow 1.33% since 2024 started, and grow 12.35% than the same period in 2023.
And those were the economics and business update for this hour. When we return, it's time for Hileni Hildanto, who will bring you the latest from the world of sport, See Today Sports. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick.
Point to Manado on the smash. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku deportasi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu, dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, lebih panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Hi viewers, you're still watching the 3-Hour News Show on C Today, and let's start your sports updates for this hour. First up, we have the Argentine Primera Division, where Miguel Borja and Agustin Roberto secured a 2-0 away win for River Plate at Barracas Central. The victory comes as a boost for the club's manager and former Argentina international, Martin de Michelis, ahead of the next match. River Plate, known by many as Los Millonarios, were quick on the offensive since the start of the match despite playing away. After what had been a goalless first half, Miguel Borja opened the scoring for River in the 71st minute when his header flew past Barracas goalkeeper Sebastian Moyano. River doubled their lead 10 minutes later when Agustin Roberto capped off a counterattack. And Roberto, who just turned 18 earlier this month, hit a hard shot from outside the penalty box. A 2-0 scoreline lasted until final whistle. And now we turn to German football, where Kaiserslautern beat Hertha Berlin through a 3-1 away in a quarterfinals in the German Cup. A moment of silence was held before kickoff in yesterday's match to honor the country's late football legend Franz Beckenbauer. Kaiserslautern were quick to attack from the start and needed just 5 minutes to open the scoring when Jan Eveldy got on the end of a pass from Timotheus Pukas to find the back of the net. The visitors doubled their lead 7 minutes from halftime through a goal from Richmond Tachi, who connected to a pass from Marlon Ritter. Kaiserslautern made it 3-0 after the break when they took advantage of Hertha's poor defending. Philip Kalok fired a shot from outside the penalty box that went past Marius Gersbeck in goal. Fabian Reis scored a consolation goal for Hertha in injury time, though it was too late, a little too late. Kaiserslautern had on to the 3-1 win until the final whistle. In the English Premier League, 20-year-old Connor Bradley scored his first goal for Liverpool and then set up one for Dominik Szoboszlai as Jurgen Klopp's team moved 5 points clear at the top of the table with a 4-1 thrashing of Chelsea on Wednesday. Liverpool played with such intensity from the opening whistle, and their stifling press had Chelsea struggling to get out of their own half. While Nunez peppered Chelsea's goal with 7 shots in the first half, it was Diogo Jota who broke the deadlock in the 23rd minute when he bundled past a couple of Chelsea defenders to score. Bradley whipped the Anfield fans into a frenzy in the 39th minute when he hammered home an angle shot to the far corner after a surging run. The youngster from Northern Ireland then left a defender in his wake in the 65th minute before launching a pinpoint cross that Szoboszlai leapt to the head past George Petrovic. Christopher Nkunku pulled one back in the 71st, but Liverpool's Luis Diaz replied with a goal 8 minutes later to send many of the Blues fans in attendance to the exits. Liverpool, who are unbeaten at Anfield this season in all competitions, have 51 points after 22 games. Manchester City, who have a game in hand, are second and level on points with third-place Arsenal with 46. Chelsea are 10th with 31. Hotspur climbed to 4th place in the Premier League following a 3-2 home victory against struggling Brentford on Wednesday. Neal Maupay prodded a lively Brentford into an early lead, and Tottenham were ragged before halftime. But they responded after the break with Destiny Udogie, Brennan Johnson, and Richarlison scoring in a devastating 8-minute spell. Tottenham were sensational going forward, but left-back Udogie's defending was less impressive, and his mistake allowed Ivan Toney to halve the deficit with plenty of time left. Chances were created at both ends in the closing stages of an absorbing contest, and Tottenham were indebted to a superb stoppage time saved by Guglielmo Vicario to secure a 4th successive home league win. Ange Postecoglou's side moved above Aston Villa on goals scored, with both clubs on 43 points from 22 games, 3 points behind third-place Arsenal. Brentford's 6th defeat in 7 league games left them only 4 points above the relegation zone. And now let's move on to our next update. This one was actually our headline for today. Surfing legend Kelly Slater advanced to the round of 32 on Wednesday at the WSL season opening Pipeline Pro in Hawaii in his return to competition after hip surgery. Slater, a 51-year-old, 11-time world champion, admitted he is still feeling the effects of off-season surgery, but advanced out of his heat to reach the knockout round. The day's highest combined heat total was claimed by John Florence of Hawaii with a 15.20 out of a possible 20. The 2024 World Surf League season is kicking off this week at the famous Banzai Pipeline in Oahu, and current world number 1 Felipe Toledo withdrew on Wednesday due to illness.
The other day I was at Haleiwa and my hip hurt really bad doing turns, and so I was kind of depressed for a few days, but then I got some work done and I surfed yesterday. It felt okay, but yeah, I just need some more time to heal. As far as performance surfing, I don't know if I'd be anywhere near ready right now, but tube riding, let's go. Pipeline is always inviting, and you know, nice to get a good kickoff day like today with some 8-10 foot waves and good wind.
That is a wrap for sports this hour, but when we return, we'll have more information just for you. So keep it right here on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today.
China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar di itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for See Today with Business with me, Caroline. All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different than baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
It's kind of 10 days, the priority has been getting to California and making the miles, saving our money as best we can.
But we're going to ride 80 miles tomorrow. We've just ridden 70 and we're all starving.
Took the first couple of corners and felt pretty comfortable, so I thought I might get it.
So that was just too much rear brake, stalled the engine.
The end of the first day of competition.
The winner of the challenge today was Brodie.
Revealed today by generations unborn when they weaved their spell. The Couple Dreams. It's football's biggest prize. On the greatest stage.
Welcome back to our viewers in Indonesia and across the world. Thank you for joining us on the second hour of the 3-hour news show and see today on the very first day of February 2024. Now in this hour we'll have live updates in regards to the resignation letter that was submitted by the coordinating minister for
Politics.
Politics, that's right. So Mr. Mahfud MD, who is also a vice presidential candidate, we will find out when he will meet with President Joko Widodo. Now, for the next 2 hours, of course, we'll also continue to bring you the latest from Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and around the world. I'm your host for today, Kai Surya, and with me are Hiliani Hidranto and Muhammad Akhir.
That's right. So we're going to continue into the second hour. Hi, everyone. My name is Hiliani Hidranto. Welcome to the 3-hour news show. Make sure you follow us on X, Instagram, and YouTube at See Today News for the latest updates. And with us today is Akhir for the latest from the business world.
Yes, Yani, thank you. My name is Muhammad Akhir. I'll be your money man for today. This is our second hour of the 3-hour news show, and we'll take a look again at market and business updates from the country, the region, and elsewhere around the world. But again, first, let's take a look at what made the top stories for today.
From Indonesia, Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Human Rights Affairs, Mahfud MD, has submitted his resignation letter to President Joko Widodo, and in this hour we'll have live update.
In See Today Business, the Indonesia Crypto Outlook 2024 revealed that crypto trading in Indonesia had fallen by 50% in 2023 compared to the previous year.
Surfing legend Kelly Slater advanced to the round of 32 at the WSL season opening Pipeline Pro in Hawaii in his return to competition after hip surgery.
And stay tuned for a signature segment, See the Stories. We'll talk about understanding a generation that lacks patience from a neuropsychological perspective. Stay tuned for that. Now I want to bring you straight to world news as the World Health Organization and its partners have delivered essential medical supplies to the Nasser Hospital in the Gaza Strip.
According to the WHO, the medical supplies should cater for around 1,000 patients at the crowded medical center in Khan Yunis. The organization and its partners also plan to drop off food supplies, but the delivery was delayed by checkpoint holdups.
Officials at Nasser Hospital say the medical team at the complex is currently treating some 400 patients. Doctors say they are struggling to provide proper care as there is a dire shortage of essentials such as gauze and antibiotics. They are unable to clean tools and must often reuse equipment that has not been sterilized properly on more than one patient.
The facility has run out of beds and patients are often treated sitting in chairs or on the floors. According to the head of surgical department, most of the patients suffered serious wounds during Israeli strikes. Most of them had to undergo abdomen, chest, brain, and limb surgery.
The hospital also houses scores of displaced who have sought shelter at the medical facility. They moved to the complex in the hope it would not become a target of Israel's military operation against Hamas militants.
حاليا في مجمع ناصر الطبي في نقص كبير في اكثر من شغله نتيجه الحصار المفروض علينا. في عندنا نقص في الادوات الطبيه، الجوز، الشاش ما في. بنحاول بقد ما نقدر انه نفس الجوز نعمل فيه اكثر من شغله. في عندنا نقص في صواني التفريز، كثير في عندنا نقص فيها الصينيه الوحده بنستعملها باكثر من شغله. احنا اللي بنعقم ما في مكان للطاقه.
And with aid being so scarce, Palestinians have expressed concern on Wednesday over the suspension of humanitarian aid deliveries by the UNRWA in Gaza, emphasizing the potentially severe and catastrophic impact.
The UN agency has been the main supplier of food, water, and shelter to civilians during the Gaza genocide.
UNRWA has been facing repercussions following Israel's allegations that 12 of its employees were involved in the October 7 Hamas attack. In response to these accusations, the US and several other nations have cut off funding, reigniting a debate over Gaza's biggest humanitarian aid provider. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees employs thousands of staff and delivers essential aid and services to millions across the Middle East.
It contends that the entire agency should not be penalized for the alleged actions of a few workers who will be held accountable. The UN has further called on donors to resume funding immediately.
A coalition of 28 groups, including the Norwegian Refugee Council, Oxfam, and Save the Children, are also advocating for the restoration of funding, saying UNRWA's delivery of humanitarian assistance cannot be replaced. The United States, the agency's largest donor, initiated the funding cut over the weekend, a move followed by more than a dozen other countries. They collectively provided more than 60% of UNRWA's budget in 2022.
مصيبة كبرى وكارثة الوضع. هي يعني حتى الوكالة هي الجهة الوحيدة الداعمة للشعب الفلسطيني، وهي اللي عندها الإمكانية لتقديم المساعدة. فقطع الدعم عنها يعني قاطع الدعم عن الشعب الفلسطيني، وبالتالي الأوضاع السيئة حتسوء أكثر.
تقليص خدمات الأنورا في غزة مسكر كارثة كبرى على السكان الموجودين هون. هو بوقت السلم كان 70% عايشين على مساعدات الأنورا ومدارس الأنورا وتعليم ببلاش وصحة ببلاش، فما بالك لما يتم تقليص دول كثيرة قلصت المساعدات اللي بيتم تقديمها للأنورا.
Now, in light of the 60% of donoring countries, that amounts to the 60% of donation to the UNRWA that's been suspended, countries have included the United States, Austria, Australia, Canada, Finland, Germany, Italy, Japan, and UK, of course, pending this investigation. Now, Spain, however, has confirmed on Monday that it will not suspend its funding to the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, and also emphasized that their donations have tripled since October 7th and will continue to show unwavering support.
Yes, meanwhile, from South Africa's foreign minister said on Wednesday that Israel has already ignored the ruling against it last week by the United Nations headquarters by continuing to kill civilians in Gaza, while her country has also asked why an arrest warrant for Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has not been issued. And this comes in another case South Africa has brought at a separate international criminal court.
Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor said that South Africa would now look at proposing other measures to the global community to stop Israel's killing of civilians in the Gaza Strip, without going into detail on what those measures might be.
A top official in her ministry has said that South Africa hopes that the ruling issued by the UN's International Court of Justice on Friday and whether Israel is abiding by it might now be discussed on a wider level at the United Nations, possibly as early as Wednesday.
The court's preliminary ruling in South Africa's case accusing Israel of genocide in its 4-month military offensive in Gaza ordered Israel to do all it can to prevent death, destruction, and any acts of genocide against Palestinians in their own land. It stopped short of ordering an Israel ceasefire, which South Africa was seeking.
I can't be dishonest. I believe that the rulings of the court have been ignored by Israel. Hundreds of people have been killed in the last 3-4 days. And clearly Israel believes it has license to do as it wishes. So the world does have to reflect, because we're going to come to a point where we have to think, what do we do to stop such acts occurring? Not just with Israel, but any party in the world. What I felt he didn't answer me sufficiently on was I asked him why he was able to issue an arrest warrant for Mr. Putin and is unable to do so for the Prime Minister of Israel. He couldn't answer and did not answer that question. But I read into some of what he said that the investigations are still underway, and until their conclusion, he cannot pronounce on this matter. So we have taken the opportunity to just establish where we are with respect to the ICC. On UNRWA, I think one of the things we're going to see is all sorts of modifications of negative action against the people of Palestine. And you're going to see it every day. There'll be a different intervention which seeks to undermine, hence our conviction that genocide is underway. And whatever means to achieve it are available to Israel, which we shouldn't forget is an occupying power with a duty to protect those that it has occupied.
Move on to the next story. Russia and Ukraine have exchanged some 200 prisoners of war, the country said on Wednesday.
This comes amid tensions stemming from last week's crash of a military transport plane that Moscow claimed was carrying Ukrainian POWs and was shot down by Kyiv's forces.
Some Russian officials had publicly questioned the possibility of future POW swaps after the January 24th crash of the Il-76 plane in Russia's Belgorod region near the border with Ukraine.
Ukraine's ombudsman for human rights, Dmytro Lubinets, said on social media that it was the 50th such exchange since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion nearly 2 years ago, with a total of 3,035 POWs repatriated.
Among the Ukrainians released were members of Armed Forces, National Guard, Border Service, and National Police. Some of them had been captured while defending Mariupol, Azovstal, and Snake Island.
Moscow had said that 65 Ukrainian POWs had been aboard the military transport that crashed January 24th. Ukrainian officials confirmed that a swap was due to take place that day and was called off, but said Ukraine claimed it has seen no evidence the plane was carrying the POWs.
And now let's go back to Indonesia. President Joko Widodo recently distributed the Indonesia Smart Card to 18,600,000 students at the Bung Karno Sukoharjo Stadium in Central Java.
Now, the program that has been running for 10 years aims to provide financial assistance for people from low-income families across Indonesia to pursue higher education.
The distribution of the Indonesia Smart Card for Kartu Indonesia Pintar was held during the president's working visit to Sukoharjo Regency, Central Java.
The government has allocated 450,000 rupiah for financial assistance for elementary school students, 750,000 rupiah for junior high students, and 1,800,000 rupiah for vocational and high school students.
On top of that, the government has also launched the Indonesia Smart Card Kuliah Merdeka program by raising financial assistance for university students who will receive up to 8 million rupiahs for tuition fees and living expenses.
Furthermore, President Joko Widodo hopes that the Indonesia Smart Card program would run successfully and can help students from the low-income families to register for university and higher education.
Program Indonesia Pintar ini sudah 10 tahun. Dan jumlah yang diberikan di seluruh tanah air sudah 18 juta 600.000 kurang lebih. 18 juta 600.000. Baik SD, SMP, SMA, SMK. Kalau ingin kuliah, masih ada yang namanya KIP kuliah. Akan diberikan kepada anak-anakku semuanya. Bisa sampai 8 juta. 900.000 lebih yang sudah mendapatkan KIP kuliah. Jadi anak-anak tidak usah khawatir.
Indonesian Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs Mahfud MD announced yesterday the decision to submit his resignation letter to President Joko Widodo.
The move will allow the vice presidential candidate to fully focus on his campaign run.
Selamat datang kepada terhormat Bapak Dr. Mahfud MD.
And the latest development on the ground is Mahfud MD has officially announced his resignation from his role as Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs in President Joko Widodo's cabinet.
For the latest updates, let's now connect online with our news team Adin Fatoni and Andres Saputra from the Merdeka Palace in central Jakarta. Hi Adin, please go ahead.
Good afternoon to everybody who are watching. Now, President Joko Widodo welcomed Mahfud MD, the Coordinating Minister of Politics, Legal and Security Affairs, here at the Merdeka Palace, Jakarta, just this afternoon. Because today, Mahfud MD, the Coordinating Minister, finally delivered or submit his resignation letter from his position as the Coordinating Minister of Politics, Legal and Security Affairs of the Joko Widodo's cabinet 2019-2024. Now, today, the meeting happened at around 4 p.m. this afternoon at Merdeka Palace here in Jakarta. We have no footage of the meeting yet, but after the meeting, Mahfud MD delivered a presser to us media who are waiting for the story about what's the meeting about. So the meeting happened at around 4 p.m. where both and Mahfud MD both arrived at the Merdeka Palace where President Joko Widodo, after he went on his work trip from the Central Java, and then Mahfud MD was after came to the Merdeka Palace also after he went to some provinces for his campaign as Vice President number 3. So Mahfud MD on his press briefing said that the meeting was in fact joyous, full of laughter, and to tell story between, or the fun story between those two, between President Joko Widodo and Mahfud MD. Mahfud MD delivered his highest appreciation towards President Joko Widodo and vice versa. So what's the resignation letter about? What's the content of the resignation letter? So let's hear some clip or a clip of his press briefing about the submission of his resignation letter. Take a listen.
Saya menyampaikan surat tentang kelanjutan tugas saya sebagai Menko Polhukam. Saya menyampaikan intinya saya mengajukan permohonan untuk berhenti dan isi surat itu singkat, hanya berisi 3 hal. Pertama, saya menyampaikan terima kasih kepada Presiden Republik Indonesia Bapak Joko Widodo yang pada tanggal 23 Oktober tahun 2019 mengangkat saya, melantik saya sebagai Menko Polhukam dan menyerahkan SK pengangkatannya dengan penuh penghormatan kepada saya dan penghormatan saya kepada beliau pada saat itu. Sehingga saya secara resmi dan dengan penuh hormat juga hari ini menyatakan surat untuk menyatakan minta atau mohon berhenti dengan sebuah surat itu. Nah, lalu isi yang kedua surat itu, substansi surat itu adalah permohonan berhenti. Lalu yang ketiga, saya mohon maaf kepada beliau kalau memang ada masalah-masalah yang kurang saya laksanakan dengan baik.
So on the meeting between President Joko Widodo and Mahfud MD, it was also attended by the State Secretary Minister Pratikno. And on the presser also, Mahfud MD delivered there are a lot of works that has been going on and in progress of around his time when he's at the position of the coordinating minister. But there are a couple of things that are more likely to be handed over to the next coordinating minister of politics, legal and security affairs. First is about the recollection of the liquidity aid of Bank Indonesia, which during his time as the coordinating minister, as the head of the recollection of the liquidity aid of Bank Indonesia special task force, they have already collected around 35.8 trillion from the target of 111 trillion. Another thing that is going to be handed over to the next coordinating minister is about the legal act to settle the severe human rights violation from the perspective of its victim. But it will all have to wait because, as Mahfud MD said before, that his official to wait for the official presidential decree. That's it, our coverage about the meeting between President Joko Widodo and Mahfud MD. Back to studio, everyone.
Nadine Fatoni, thank you so much for your update, and thank you for highlighting the fact that there has been a lot of synergy between the two gentlemen while Mahfud, of course, was reigning as the coordinating minister. Thank you so much for the update. Well, it goes to see, we need to wait until the presidential decree has been announced, and also who will be replacing or at a term will take over of the position. In the meantime, we're going for a quick break for this hour, but when we come back, we'll again have the latest from Southeast Asia and around the world.
And again, later during the hour, I'll bring you the latest from the world of business.
So keep it right here on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick.
Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku deportasi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah. Baru kali ini
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain. Southeast Asia and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for Steve Today with Business with me, Caroline. All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Harus naik satu bukit sampai elevasi gua hari itu nyentuh 4.000-an lah.
I kinda wanna die.
Welcome back to the Spirit News Show with us and see today. Now it's time to take a look at regional news. Let's start in Vietnam, where Vietnamese EV manufacturer VinFast has announced plans to expand its operations into the Philippines.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. met with Vingroup Chairman Pham Nhat Vuong and other senior executives during his state visit to Vietnam. Vingroup, the parent firm of VinFast, seek to enhance the availability of electric vehicles in the Philippines and foster the adoption of sustainable energy sources.
The chairman discussed potential collaborations in developing public services such as buses and taxis, along with initiatives to train students in artificial intelligence and medicine, in addition to the EV sector.
Meanwhile, the Philippines expressed hopes to join the EV battery supply chain business, which aligns with its economic objectives to process minerals domestically and establish a battery factory. Now, this strategic alignment resonates with Vingroup's overarching vision.
Now we're counting down 13 days until 14th of February, where we'll have our Indonesian general election. So let's take a look at the upcoming updates or the latest updates regarding the election on Indonesia Votes 2024. It is still deep in the campaign season, so let's take a look at what presidential candidates have been up to recently. Presidential candidate Anies Baswedan has delivered a message of change during a grand campaign in Madura Island yesterday.
The campaign commenced with a mass prayer and a declaration by Maduri scholars, as well as ulamas and community leaders, of their support to his candidacy.
Baswedan emphasized his mission to bring about change while focusing on providing an affordable living cost, improving economy, and creating more job opportunities in the labor-intensive industries.
The campaign took place in Sumeneb and Bangkalan regencies, as well as Pamekasan City. There are a total of 3 million voters set to cast their ballot on Madura Island.
The central theme of Baswedan's message revolves around prosperity, economic growth, and job opportunities.
Jadi yang diinginkan sejak kita datang kemarin adalah apa yang menjadi aspirasi rakyat Indonesia. Lapangan pekerjaan yang lebih mudah, biaya hidup yang lebih murah, pendidikan yang terjangkau, dan itulah yang menjadi prioritas perjuangan kami. Karena itu semangat perubahan insya Allah kami jaga.
Meanwhile, Ganjar Pranowo continued his campaign trail to North Sulawesi, where he visited the Tomohon market and met with traders and consumers.
Pak Ganjar!
In a speech, presidential candidate Ganjar Pranowo underscored his commitment to provide affordable, stable foods for the public. The promise came following recent complaints from traders and consumers amid the soaring prices of commodities.
The former Central Java governor also promised that if elected as president, he will further collaborate with relevant stakeholders and agencies to maintain the stability of food commodity prices.
Sebenarnya sistem informasinya yang mesti ada ya. Kalau saya kasih contoh, waktu itu kami dibantu BIU, di Jawa Tengah ada SIHAGIN, sistem informasi harga komoditi. Kalau itu bisa kita ketahui, maka peredaran atau pergerakan barang bisa dipantau dari pasar. Nah, ketika terjadi kekurangan, maka ditambah lagi produksi ada di mana. Itulah perdagangan antar daerah. Sebenarnya stabilisasi itu hanya butuh kita bicaranya telaten. Tiap hari menginformasikan, tiap hari komunikasi, dan perdagangan antar daerah mesti ditingkatkan. Maka kalau ada dashboard sistem yang bisa dipakai untuk memantau terus-menerus, saya kira tindakannya akan lebih cepat.
And let's talk about keeping the election season secure. The Indonesian Armed Forces performed an inspection of troops earlier today at the Halim Perdana Kusuma Air Base.
Military personnel were seen taking part in a crowd management simulation, demonstrating their readiness for the upcoming general elections.
The Indonesian Armed Forces has affirmed their full commitment to ensuring a peaceful voting process ahead of the upcoming general elections. Armed Forces Commander General Agus Subianto, along with the chiefs of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, led on Thursday troop inspections at Halim Perdana Kusuma Air Base. The facility is strategically connected virtually to all personnel across Indonesia. A military simulation was also held to demonstrate the armed forces' readiness in safeguarding the electoral process. The training saw troops setting up defensive layers to fend off protesters, employing shields to handle disturbances. In addition, water cannons and tear gas were deployed to address escalated situations. General Subianto has assigned nearly 450,000 personnel to ensure stability and safety during the general elections. He has also ordered all personnel to prepare for various disruption scenarios.
Yang pertama, untuk Pangkotama, Pangdam itu memiliki rencana kontingensi. Ya. Dalam rencana kontingensi itu ada faktor alam dan non alam yang harus dihadapi. Kalau alam biasanya bencana alam seperti sekarang banjir, kemudian longsor, Gunung Merapi. Itu Pangkotama mempunyai rencana tersebut, kebutuhan personil dan alat perlengkapan yang dibutuhkan. Kita dari Mabes TNI dan Angkatan mendukung kebutuhan yang diajukan oleh para Pangkotama. Kemudian non alamnya seperti tadi kita ketahui, kita lihat bersama demo konflik sosial yang kemungkinan terjadi. Ya, jadi setiap wilayah itu punya mapping masing-masing.
The Armed Forces is actively supporting logistical needs, particularly in remote areas using assets, such as the C-130 Hercules for distribution.
Saya sudah koordinasi dengan Bapak KPU, selalu kita komunikasi tentang pendistribusian logistik pemilu, mudah-mudahan bisa berjalan lancar dengan situasi kondisi yang sekarang curah hujan yang sangat tinggi, kemudian juga terjadi banjir, longsor di beberapa wilayah. Insya Allah kita akan membantu pelaksanaan proses pendistribusian logistik sehingga pada pelaksanaan pencoblosan bisa tepat waktu dan logistik bisa terdistribusi ke seluruh TPS.
The Armed Forces will be collaborating with the National Police to secure the upcoming election. Furthermore, General Subianto has emphasized his forces' commitment to neutrality. Adin Fatoni and Andre Saputra for City Today.
Well, there you go, the election updates. I mean, we have one more presidential debate upcoming, the last one this Sunday on the 4th of February.
Yes.
And then the campaign season will end on the 10th. That's like days away.
10 more days.
Yeah, I think no matter what's been said, it's been a pretty safe and peaceful campaign season so far. And let's keep it that way for the last couple of days. And we're so looking forward to the 14th of February, of course. Now we're going for another break.
Yes, and after the break, we will take a look at some business updates from Indonesia and beyond. So stay here only on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today.
We have more business updates right here from our nation, where the Association of Indonesian Automotive Manufacturers, or GAIKINDO, reported that over 1 million vehicles were sold in Indonesia last year.
The Indonesian government has announced plans to allocate around 4.8 billion rupiahs for this year's pre-employment program.
Now, the program aims to help boost economic recovery, especially for those affected by COVID-related layoffs.
The Indonesian government is once again providing food aid in the form of rice reserves to support the public amid higher prices of the commodity in the market.
Stok bulog sekarang ini alhamdulillah masih pada posisi yang baik, masih 1,4 juta ton.
China has been racing against time for rescue and disaster relief work after a landslide on Monday struck a mountainous village in southwest China's Yunnan province.
So spicy.
Absolutely delicious.
You know, it's actually pretty good.
Satu, dua, tiga. Come see the nature, only on See Indonesia.
Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia.
Only on See Indonesia.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Kind of 10 days, the priority has been getting to California and making the miles and saving our money as best we can.
We're going to ride 80 miles tomorrow. We've just ridden 70 and we're all starving.
Took the first couple of corners and felt pretty comfortable, so I thought I might get it.
So that was just too much rear brake, stalled the engine.
The end of the first day of competition.
The winner of the challenge today was Brodie.
revealed today by generations unborn when they weave their spell. The Cup of Dreams. It's football's biggest prize on the greatest stage.
In 2023, the so-called tech winter was still abound, with many startups both globally and in Indonesia suffering layoffs, some even shut down. But what about 2024? Will this tech winter still continue, or will we start to see some optimistic conditions? To discuss more, we're going to be talking with Pak Roderick Purwana. He's a managing partner of venture capital firm East Ventures. Pak Roderick, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Good to be here.
But before we talk about 2024, I want to look back at 2023 first. How did you and East Ventures see the startup and venture capital industry, both in Indonesia and Southeast Asia as well?
Yeah, I think 2023 was a challenging year for a lot of people as well, right? I think especially in the venture capital industry, and a lot of that began in through second part of 2022, right, where we start to see some global challenges on the economy, rising inflation, rising interest rate environment as well, right? That move a lot of people from riskier assets to sort of more standard or more sort of less risky assets, I guess, right? So it was quite abrupt as well, right? So I think a lot of people were expecting things to still go pretty well, and I think it was realization, I guess, a time for realization, right? So for 2023, a lot of companies, a lot of founders, and a lot of venture capital firms as well were faced with the reality that things might not be as great, right? So, what some people call the tech winter, I guess, right? And a lot of this started with the more mature markets like the US, of course, right? US has always been sort of the leader, I guess, in the industry, right? And then where a lot of other parts of the world also follows, I guess. So with that, I think in Indonesia in particular, right, we see some challenges that trickles down also into the companies. We saw some reductions in force. We saw some businesses or startups closing down as well in 2023, right? So overall, I think it was a year that is filled with uncertainty, I guess, right?
Right, but how about for the venture capital and maybe investing into the startup itself in 2023? Yeah. Was it according to your expectation or no?
Yeah, I think for venture capital in particular, right, as a result of that, I think in general funding slowed down overall as well. So I think venture capital became also more selective, I guess, right? So it doesn't mean that there's no funding at all, so things don't go to zero. But if you look at in terms of the statistics, definitely funding went down and people became a lot more selective. So it was becoming harder for founders and companies to raise capital also from venture capital during 2023. Yeah.
Right, Pa. So a lot of those challenges perhaps started to build up or sort of reach a peak in 2023, but how do you see 2024? Do you see kind of this tech winter and all these challenges faced by startup and VCs continuing this year?
Yeah, I think 2024 is still a period of where I guess people are questioning right now whether we've seen the bottom or we're going to still see the bottom in 2024, right? I think there's reason to be hopeful that we're looking at, right? Again, one of it is potentially. So US was supposed to have a recession. So far, we're seeing maybe more of a soft landing rather than a recession, right? 2024 is also a year where we have so many global elections as well, right? So I think, of course, during these times, I think people tend to wait and see or try to understand the market first. So we don't think 2024 will be, that much different than 2023 from that respect in terms of investment activities. But we are hopeful, and we're starting to see signs of activities, and people are starting to deploy more capital as well into the market, especially in the US. Yeah, right. Again, and US usually is a beacon or a sign, right? So how things are going to go as well. Yeah.
Right. But maybe for the Indonesian market itself, do you see maybe venture capital firms such as yours sort of still being cautious in 2024, or maybe, for example, like their forecast that the Fed might potentially cut their rates towards the end of the year, or maybe in the middle of this year? How's that going to affect the outlook for investing into startups this year?
I mean, so most people are projecting that the interest rate hikes have stopped or are coming up to a stop, and then potentially will come down later this year, right? I think the certainty of not increasing rates anymore. It gives people confidence to start investing back into riskier assets, into like venture capital. If the Fed does start to cut rates, and there are expectations of them once they start cutting rates to do it quite fast, at least, right? That will translate to also potentially increases in multiples in terms of how these companies are valued as well, right? So it's a multiple stage process, I guess, right? But there's definitely an effect of interest rate, especially in the US, into how people are looking at investing into riskier assets like venture capital.
Right now, as you say that for 2024 could be a time for investing into riskier assets because of the Fed rate cuts, as you said. What kind of sectors do you think are the most prospective in 2024? Maybe, what about AI?
Yeah, I think so for East Ventures, right? I think we have always been sector agnostic in our approach, right? I mean, our core flagship funds are seed and growth. So we look at all sectors, right? But of course, there are trends in terms of sectors that are interesting and becoming more interesting, right? So even the traditional parts, I think we are still invested in e-commerce, fintech, logistics, and whatnot, but we're starting to see new areas emerging as well, right? So a couple of the areas we have been looking at in the past year or so, and then going to this year is one in terms of energy transition and climate, right? I think it's also a big theme for everyone this year. The other one is healthcare, right? I think the pandemic exposed how fragile our healthcare infrastructure is, and with the reform of the Bill of Health last year as well in Indonesia, we also believe that there will spur a lot of innovation in the space. Now, with regards to AI, as you asked, right? I mean, that has been sort of the major trend, I guess, if you will, globally, right, in the past year, and of course, Indonesia is also going to go through the same trend. I think we're still we've taken a look, and we've started engaging companies that are active in the space. So we're still looking heavily in the space. So we need to decide, and we need to look into which areas, particularly within AI, that could make sense for companies in Indonesia and in Southeast Asia to do.
But now in 2023, we saw a lot of layoffs, both globally and in Indonesia, among many startups. Do you see those kind of layoffs continuing in 2024 in Indonesia and maybe regionally as well?
I think layoff happens to good, bad company. Layoff happens to in good and bad times as well, right? So it's not unique to the current condition or current, to the startup ecosystem, I guess, right? So, and it could be for various reasons and factors as well, right? I think some might do it for restructuring, some might do it for efficiencies and whatnot, right? So it's very hard to predict layoffs as well, right?
Okay, but now another major challenge this year, globally and affecting many countries, is geopolitical tensions and conflicts as well. How do you see that affecting the startup and VC industry in Indonesia and maybe Southeast Asia as well?
Yeah, I mean, Southeast Asia and Indonesia in particular have shown neutrality in the larger geopolitical scheme, right? And that has been very good for us, I guess, right? But regardless, as part of the global citizen, I guess, if you will, right? I mean, there is effect of the geopolitical conditions, right? But the largest maybe effect for Indonesia in the short term would be the election, I guess, right? It's the near-term things that will potentially affect most in terms of sentiment and how people will behave, I guess, for this year in Indonesia.
Okay, so let's talk about that. The presidential elections, the Indonesian presidential and general elections. How do you see that affecting the startup and venture capital industry this year?
I guess usually globally as well, during elections, there are wait and sees from investors, right? So I think typically people slow down up to an election or the outcome of an election, right? I think we haven't seen as much of that so far, and we're coming up to a few weeks into the presidential election for Indonesia. I think people would like to see the clarity or the certainty or what happens, right?
How about the outcome after the presidential and general elections conclude in February? How do you see that affecting the startup and VC industry?
Yeah, I think the Indonesian government historically have been supportive of the ecosystem, and they haven't really meddled too much into the ecosystem, right? So in a way that it's a good thing, meaning that whoever wins the election, we don't believe there will be too much change in terms of how the outlook or prospect of the digital economy is going to be, right? So, and looking at some of the initial or work plans for digital for the three candidates as well, right? We think all of them have to a certain extent, right? I think good points that can be or should be implemented as well, right? So I think so far we believe that this despite the election and whoever wins the election, for us we believe that there will be a good prospect for digital economy for Indonesia.
Right. What are your hopes, though, from the government itself for sort of supporting the startup and VC industry?
As I said, I think our government has been pretty good in terms of the support that they give to the founder startup, and they haven't really intervened much, if any, right? I mean, I think there's of course cases and whatnot that I think could be seen as that, but maybe what will be interesting is to increase the engagement and dialogue between the founders and the government and the multi-stakeholders. So one of the things that could be interesting is maybe for the government to play more of a coordinating role, I guess, right? In terms of putting together all the different stakeholders and then figuring out challenges and then how to potentially solve them together, right? And maybe I'll take a step further from that, right? And it's not just within the country as well, right? So I think last year we hosted the ASEAN Summit, right? And what could be interesting is not only maybe coordinating or facilitating activities within the country, but among ASEAN countries, maybe, for example, right? One of the key projects that was pushed last year was ASEAN QR, right? That will promote financial inclusion within the different countries as well, right? So that's a good example of your government's role in terms of facilitating and doing things across the region, right? And increasing things, and not just within the country.
Okay, but I just want to get your final thoughts. 2024, still many challenges, but a lot of institutions and people are saying 2025 is the year when things will finally become better. How do you see it?
I think as an industry, venture capital, you have to have hope and you have to be hopeful for the future, right? So I think in general, we've always been positive about how things are. But I think, again, 2023 brought a sense of realism and say that, okay, you have to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. But we think that, 2025 could be an interesting year. But again, of course, we are always cautious and we are mindful. We tell our companies and our founders the same things, whether it's a crisis or good times as well, right? I think focus on your product, focus on your core product, right? And then you have to always be mindful of that, right? I mean, if you're mindful of that, you're wary of the market condition. I think whether it's a great year or just a good year, I think they should do quite well.
Okay, Pak Roderick Purwana, Managing Partner of East Ventures, thank you so much for giving us your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pak.
Thank you.
China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir.
Welcome back to the 3-Hour News Show on C Today, and this is your sports updates for this hour. Surfing legend Kelly Slater advanced to the round of 32 on Wednesday at the WSL season opening Pipeline Pro in Hawaii in his return to competition after hip surgery.
Within the 10s, you guys can paddle out. Just stay wide if you get out there.
Slater, a 51-year-old 11-time world champion, admitted he is still feeling the effects of off-season surgery, but advanced out of his heat to reach the knockout round. The day's highest combined heat total was claimed by John Florence of Hawaii with a 15.20 out of a possible 20. The 2024 World Surf League season is kicking off this week at the famous Banzai Pipeline in Oahu, and current world #1 Felipe Toledo withdrew on Wednesday due to illness.
The other day I was at Haleiwa and my hip hurt really bad doing turns, and so I was kind of depressed for a few days, but then I got some work done and I surfed yesterday. It felt okay. But yeah, I just need some more time to heal. As far as performance surfing, I don't know if I'd be anywhere near ready right now, but tube riding, let's go. Pipeline is always inviting, and you know, nice to get a good kickoff day like today with some 8-10 foot waves. And
that's a wrap for sports for now, but when we return, we'll have more information, including our signature segment, See the Stories. So keep it right here on the 3-Hour News Show on See Today.
China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
It's like deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for See Today with Business with me, Caroline.
All right, guys.
See
Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for
Rear brake, stall the engine.
The end of the first day of competition.
The winner of the challenge today was Brody.
Revealed today by generations unborn when they weave their spell. The Couple Dreams. It's football's biggest prize. On the greatest stage.
To the final hour of the 3-Hour News Show on See Today. And as always, in the last hour, we'll bring you the latest stories in our See the Story segment. Of course, still with me, Kai Soria.
And I'm Hiliani Hidranto. For the latest updates, you can also follow us on Instagram, X, and YouTube at See Today News. And also with us?
Hello, my name is Muhammad Ahir. But before anything else, let's see what's making headlines today.
From Indonesia, Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Human Rights Affairs, Mahfud MD, has submitted his resignation letter to President Joko Widodo.
In See Today Business, the Indonesia Crypto Outlook 2024 revealed that crypto trading in Indonesia had fallen by 50% in 2023 compared to the previous year.
Surfing legend Kelly Slater advanced to the round of 32 at the WSL season opening Pipeline Pro in Hawaii in his return to competition after hip surgery.
And in just a moment in our signature segment, See the Stories, we'll have a chat around understanding a generation which lacks patience from a neuropsychological perspective. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back to the 3 Hour News Show. It's our final hour, which means it's time for our signature segment, See the Stories. Now, we want to talk about a hot topic. Of course, it has to be the Generation Z. Now, the Generation Z dominate today's social media universe. Of course, what do you think about that? It's their character, right? Apparently, they're so different.
I think they are a little bit different, especially when it comes to work. Because I've worked with a couple of Gen Zs before.
You are working right now, or?
No, previously.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they just want to do whatever they're assigned to do. If it's not on their to-do list, they're just not gonna do it.
But can I ask you something? When we were at that phase of age, right, just entering professional work, were we like that as well?
Right?
Like, I feel like I was more scared of my seniors than the current generation. Well, there are differences, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I know. From my point of view, I would like to see the issue of resilience, or being tougher, or being tough for facing the issues that they have to face rather than just left from the problem.
Oh, yeah,
so,
they have to go heal somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Whenever something...
I've got a point from my parenting seminar last weekend. So,
do share.
This thing should be being one of the topics that we need to ask to our guests for this evening.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, and as we mentioned earlier in our headlines, we will talk about understanding a generation full of impatience, or maybe we should ask it first, is it full with impatience or lacking impatience from a narrow psychological perspective with psychologist Efni Indriani, who's here in our studio. So please, Mbak Efni, come.
Hi, Mbak Efni. It's nice to have you. Looking fabulous. And hello. Please have a seat. Have a seat. Wow.
So we can call it our resident psychologist.
That's right.
Because I think it's more than a third time, right?
Yes, more than third time.
Yeah, during COVID pandemic, we always
with Zoom.
Let's meet by Zoom.
By Zoom, and finally you're here for several times, right?
So, Akhir, do you want to start this?
I think you go first.
Well, okay, 3 of us are parents, and we have to deal with Generation Z, if not with our children, or perhaps in the workplace, as Yanni's mentioned before. Now, there's something very interesting. It seems like Akhir's mentioned before, the lack of resilience, or this instant gratification, right? Where does it come from? Are there specific neural markers, associated with, I don't know, this sounds a little bit off, but like impulsive behavior. Does this impulsive behavior even cause the impatience, or where is that coming from?
Okay. Impulsive behavior, this is a common behavior for the young generation today. Yeah. Why? Because during a daily activity, we easy to get everything. So the Z generation and the young generation will face the simple and easy life. So the brain never learn long-term process. That is one of the cause that young generation, it's very hard to be patient. Okay. And when we try to learn from the neuropsychological perspective, there's a specific neural pathway on the amygdala.
Okay.
Amygdala. Mostly the young generation live in a digital era. They produce dopamine more than the previous generations. So the level of dopamine is over, so part of brain, we call it prefrontal cortex, that can help us to manage our behaviors for the wisdom thinking, can work well.
Oh, so it's because everything's already set up for them that these neural pathways are not built or built differently, because we used to have to work really hard to find information, right?
Yeah.
So
Not just by Googling it.
Yeah. Or just like ask Siri, don't even need to type anymore.
Right.
Right?
By
What
using
is it?
speech recognition.
Alexa,
right?
Siri, everything there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. So the technology can change how the brain works. The excessive dopamine is very serious because impulsivity, it's not just because we cannot be patient, we cannot enjoy the process. Impulsivity always correlates with addictions. Most of the young generation addict to everything, not just the digital technology.
Right.
Someone will addict with chocolate also, they will be impulsive also. So be careful.
Impulsive in buying chocolate?
Yes. Addiction to coffee or addiction to specific drugs or anything, and addiction to shopping also.
Ah.
We cannot
Impulsive
control.
shopping. Is that all of us? Just kidding.
By the way, Mbak Evni, I would like to highlight your point about brain should learn about the long process.
Long-term process.
Long-term process. So we are talking in this era. And talking about Gen Z and also Gen Alpha, actually, our children, right? So they are facing not doing that long process because of the gadgets, because of everything is easier, like you said. So how we should face this problem in terms of they should, or let's say our children can have the side of their brain who can learn the long process.
Yes. If the process related to the study program to get the knowledge, they can easy to get everything from the digital technology. That's okay, no problem. But we can help them to learn process to face another thing in life. Let's say, if you want to have something, you have to manage your target in a several steps. Okay. If your children ask from the parents something, don't just give it suddenly.
You have to work for it. Give them chores.
Yes.
Or
it become necessary then, I mean, to make like a simulation, let's say, like, so you don't have to get in one step. Not just because we don't want to get that in one step, but we need to give them some exercise so that their brain will used to the long process.
Yes. So from the children's, we always try to teach our children to control the impulse. It's very, very useful for the cognition, especially executive function. What is executive function? Wisdom thinking, self-management, problem solving, make a priority in life, and another thing. It will lead our children to have a good leadership in the future.
Well, the thing.
Try to control the impulse.
Wow, that's really actually important.
So to give them exercises.
Yeah, it's really funny because I last week we went to Seoul. I went to Seoul with a group of Generation Zs to learn Javanese dancing.
Yes.
Wow.
And it surprised me that their patience or their patience to learn something, their stamina of of continuing to fight to learn something is much shorter than us from different generation, because we're used to having to learn a skill, we're used to having to take things slow, and then it took them they went through 2 to 3 tantrums within 2 to 3 days. I mean, not like major times or whatever, but we could see that their mood went up and down because they were so disappointed in themselves because they couldn't instantly get it right. So could outside activities, outside of technology and these things also help them like learn like a musical skill or something, like skills that really take time and effort for them to build that appreciation? Would that help?
Yes. It's really helpful. That's why sometimes we use the art therapy as one of process to train our brain better than before. Why? Because by using art, our brain can enjoy the process without stress. Okay. We push the young generation very hard to do everything. The stress level will improve and lead to the chronic stress, and they will become frustration. They don't want to face the process anymore.
They are just stop, yeah?
Yes, just stop it. Frustrations, and maybe some of them will feel trauma with that. So our therapy can help us to enjoy the process. So from you try to learn the new thing, enjoy the process, enjoy the step by step, and we can give appreciation.
So for us who have younger kids, I guess it's always good for our kids to have extracurricular activities at school, like the music class or science class or anything that they keep their mind working, right? You have to give them exercises. Okay. All right, so Ethne, can you, how does the neurochemistry of the reward system influence impatience in the context of technology use? Because you can't stop these kids from not using technology or digital.
We cannot stop it. Of course, we cannot stop it. But sometimes when they use the technology to get something, let's say a gamers will get so many rewards from that, they cannot stop the behavior, of course. So the technology is not wrong, but the way to use the technology, that's a problem right now. And that is a new challenge for the parents today. They have to spend the real time to face a kid every day, not just leave them with the technology.
Gadgets and
stuff.
Yes,
of course.
Because they have to have human time as well.
Yeah, sure.
So what about the reward system that Yanni mentioned before? Because we know that because of technology, everything is so instant, right? So how does that instant gratification actually affect the, the way their resilience, you can say?
Yes, resilience is come from the patient. Resilience come from the people can learn from the process. Okay, and the resilience take a long time to teach and to learn from someone in life. Okay, so this is a new challenge for the new generation. Sometimes when they see everything from the social media, and then when they try to post something on the social media, suddenly they get appreciation. The brain will produce dopamine. So many dopamine produced on the brain, so people will addict with the appreciation instantly from the others. So they cannot enjoy the process.
Because there's no process to enjoy, right?
Yes. When I try to do something, I must get the appreciation from the others instantly.
Instantly.
Yes. And we enjoy and enjoy and enjoy. Dopamine will over, the excessive dopamine on our brain. That's a problem with that. Yeah, because dopamine will make the part of our brain, we call it prefrontal cortex, that try to control our behavior. The part of this brain cannot work very well with over dopamine. That's a problem.
Okay. You mentioned that we cannot stop our kids or even us for accessing technology.
Yes.
Gadget, we cannot say it's totally 100% haram.
Haram. Say that again. Haram.
But I would like to dig more to, let's go back to the cause. In what ways has the constant exposure to technology shaped the neural pathways related to patience and impulsion among Generation Z? I would like to ask it back because, I mean, let's say my sons, I have this symptoms that you mentioned, really impatient. Maybe he has a lot of dopamine at a time, and I think I'm facing it every morning, when I have to wake him up and doing some process for his activity for going to school. And this morning, he just stopped, rather than just doing things that we suggest. So, what kind of constant exposure? Is it because of short videos? Because a lot of platforms right now using that methods, right? On YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram.
Everything's so short.
It's really constant exposure. I always and no filters for that. What do you think?
Yes, of course. Constant exposure, and they enjoy the process to see the gadget every time, more than 1 hour. The dopamine will produce on the brain.
More than 1 hour?
More than 1 hour. And after that, the brain will build the new circuit on the brain.
Oh, wow.
That's the basic point from the addiction. Okay.
So if the circuit has been built, how then should we resolve it? Just by break it, because it's not easy to ask our children or the guys for making or going back to the long process, so that the brain again can learn the long process. Then build the cognition, and you said the executive function is let's say built because of the process.
Yeah. Mostly the young generation today is very intelligent. So we should to give another challenge for the brains. Maybe to do the science project, to explore the natures more than before, to do another thing that's more interesting. We can help them to change the exposure of the brain from the technology, digital technology only to the real life condition. And when we use to try to train our brain, it takes more than 21 hours consistently. So we need to train with the new thing at least 21 days.
21 days?
21 days.
3 weeks, yeah?
Yes, constantly.
So it takes 21 days to create a new habit and 21 days to build new neural pathways.
Yes, at least 21 days. That will be better if 100 days.
You might as well pick a very new activity, actually.
Yeah. Change the behaviors, change the habit totally.
So please suggest us what kind of activities. I'm still thinking that what kind of like a process of in 21 days.
Yes, we can get an idea maybe from the another kind of experiment, science experiment at home maybe. We can spend 1 hour together in a small family or little family. We just do it together between the children and the parents. They can enjoy the process.
Every day for 21 days,
yes,
at least.
Yes, but every day we have to the new idea. Why? Because the young generation is very intelligent now.
Yeah.
They have a good nutrition right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that.
Wow.
We need so many ideas.
Yeah.
I know, it is very difficult.
And it's challenging to ask them to get to the new idea, and we think that it will be interesting.
Yeah.
But actually they can't, because it always not similar or not similar, linear to the thing that we think that it will be so interesting, because they are intelligent and they know how to refuse it if they think it's not too sophisticated or not too interesting.
Yes. Change the activity every day. Sometimes some of children get an extracurricular activity from the school. It's so really helpful for them. And then they get the exercise or something related to sports and something related to arts, and another part we can use the science experiments. And on the weekend we can explore the natures with our children to get the fresh air, the outside.
Right.
Many things can be done.
Yeah. So the keyword, like you said, bring to the real life activities.
Yes.
There's so much pressure for parents in our generation to keep our kids entertained.
Like, do we have energy by the weekend? I don't know. By the weekend, I just want to sleep in.
Yeah. Actually, it's not easy to become a parent.
That's right. Yeah.
So many challenges that we face.
That's true.
Than the before generation.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're going to continue this conversation because we still have a lot of questions. I know Akir and Yanni thinking we'll let all of us come up with more questions, because this has been very, very interesting. So Efni will stay with us right here, and we'll go for a short break, and we'll continue to talk about this very interesting topic, but how to build resilience and patience in our children's and in our younger generations. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-host.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir, dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Kebinjai mau migrasi. Anjay, aku deportasi.
cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi tuh hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Good morning, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and the world. Rise and shine, everyone. A brand new start to a brand new month and a brand new week.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a deja vu. Good.
Deja vu. It's like with sports, entertainment as well.
It is time for Steve Today with Business with me, Caroline. All right, guys. See Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Harus naik satu bukit sampai elevasi gua hari itu nyentuh 4.000-an lah.
I kind of want to die.
Welcome back to See the Stories, and now we'll continue our talk with Efni. All right, so how do the minds of Generation Z adapt to and handle multitasking, and what role does this play in impatience? Can they multitask?
We have to understand more what is multitasking from the neuropsychological perspective.
Okay.
Actually, based on research, there is no multitasking on our brain, okay? Our brain only need to focus on one thing
at a time.
only.
Okay.
One thing focus and another thing just reflect from the muscle of the body, only that.
That's why women are said to have many hands, because there are things, one thing we can focus on, and taking care of kids is like reflex to us. Changing diapers, yeah, what? That's it, right?
Yes, changing the diapers is reflex.
Yeah. And then while we're cooking or doing something else, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be changing diapers while you're cooking.
Answer the phone while we're drying the car, driving the car, something like that. So just focus on one thing, because there is no neuron or pathway for the multitasking on our brain.
Okay. So it's just our claim, yeah? When we I can do many things, multitasking.
No, of
course
not.
Overclaim.
Overclaim.
So one thing that's been, a lot of that seem to help is mindfulness, the meditation, and the practices of cognitive training techniques. How does that help into, improving their executive functions and in turn also their ability to have the stamina for patience?
Yes. Meditation, mindfulness, or cognitive behavior therapy is the simple treatment to teach our brain. Any kind of treatment, another thing that can be used also, like mindfulness meditation or brain relaxations. By using the meditation, mindfulness, or another thing, we will train our brain. For the first, we should to control our breathing process.
Breathing process.
Breathing process. Our brain can be controlled by ourselves if we breathe very well. That's why in the mindfulness meditation, for the first time, we take a deep breath and then we release. Okay. With that instruction, our brain will reduce the activity, will reduce the frequency into the alpha wave. Okay.
And reduce the impulsiveness as well?
But for the impulsivity, it takes a long process. Why? Because over dopamine.
So we have to detox the dopamine first.
Yes.
How long does it take to the 21 days of new neural pathways building? Is that it?
At least 21 days, and we should to change in another way, another activity that can produce a healthy dopamine, such as sport.
Healthy dopamine.
Yes.
So can you tell us perhaps what are the differences between unhealthy dopamine and healthy dopamine?
Okay. Unhealthy dopamine, simple. We will addict to something. Let's say I want to watch something, I cannot stop myself to watch it. I cannot stop myself to do it. It means over dopamine on that addiction. But healthy dopamine, we just enjoy to do something, but we don't addict with that. At sometimes we cannot do that. That's okay for us, no problem. But different with the addiction.
But there are some people who are addicted to exercise.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's true. So it's basically, the indicator is that we enjoy doing it, but we don't have to. It's like, it's okay if we don't get to do it.
Yes.
Okay, Yani, I know you're going to offer us some games, but I know I have one final question.
Go ahead. All right.
I'm thinking in the long term for kids with the problem of this impatience.
Yeah.
I assume that they will be parents. So how should we prepare them for being, because they are in the generation of this more to lack of patience, for becoming good parents for the future with this kind
You're thinking very far already.
Yes, because
we want them to
all of parents, not just in Indonesia, but for around the world, you have to teach yourself first before you teach your children. Okay. We have to be able to control ourselves first before we ask the children to be more patient with the process. Sometimes we say to the children, "Hey, come on, don't do that. You should to be patient." But we show the expression
that we're not
patient either to them.
Okay, I'll do
we
that.
have good role models.
Yes, I'll do the first step. Take a deep breath and doing the proper breath before doing saying something.
Yeah, to do the short meditation in the morning can help us to manage our brain during the day.
Okay.
That's really helpful for us.
I can't have a baby at home. She wakes me up. I'm like, no meditation for mama this morning. But anyway, Avni, you've been here a few times, so you know that it is our tradition to wrap up our talk show session with games. Now, today we're going to play a fact and myth games. So the big screen will show you the statement all about Gen Z. Kaina here will guess whether the statement is myth or fact. And then, of course, Avni will give the right answer and explanation. And are you guys ready?
Of course.
All right, let's not waste any more time. We're going to start with the first one. Let's see. Myth or fact? Gen Z is the first generation to grow up entirely in the digital age.
Fact. I was the transition.
Okay.
We were the transition.
And fact. And the answer is
fact.
So millennial generation is not
No, millennial. They grow up with the analog life first, and then after that, in the teenager, they will face the digital things.
I wasn't fully digitalized until college, so there you go.
All right, the second one. Let's go. Myth or fact? Gen Z is more financially conscious and responsible than previous generations. Ooh,
I don't know. I think this is 50.
For me, it's fact. I got it from one of the Gen Z.
More
that claimed to me that she said that.
But they're also more impulsive.
Yes, but they are more conscious in terms of finance.
Yeah, I understand that they're investment savvy and things like that, but they're more
it's a myth.
That makes me feel better. Thank you so much.
So what's the fact actually?
Yeah,
can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, because the Gen Z love to have more money, but they cannot enjoy the process, and sometimes they cannot enjoy the responsibility.
Why do you think so many startups are struggling? Sorry. But it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, how about like Gen Z who loves to do some investment?
Yeah.
Like,
they're big on that. Yeah.
What do you think? They are impatient as well through that process, or it's just a short-term thingy?
Yeah, because of the impulsive decision. Impulsive decision. They don't think rationally before, don't try to analyze the benefits or another thing. Just do it.
Because the trend is to invest.
So it's fit, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One.
But thank you. That makes me feel better.
1 and 1. Let's go to the next one. Myth or fact? Gen Z tends to prioritize job satisfaction and purpose over high salaries.
I don't know, because do you know how much they ask for work?
That's
much more than our generation. But yeah, but I know.
I choose fact.
Oh,
But I
both of them say fact. What do you think?
It's a myth.
It's a myth.
Gen Z need the both of job satisfaction and the salary also.
But they always act like they don't need the salary. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't like this job.
No, they leave when the salary is not enough. Are you kidding?
Yes.
That's one unfortunate thing, because they have a lifestyle to finance.
That's true.
Right? And they don't even have a family to finance yet, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's
Yeah.
why they're like digital nomads and that.
They try to show their existence on the social media. Sometimes people call it flexing or another terms. They try to show to everyone, I will be success than others. I have this, I have that. It's costly.
It's mostly right.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because you know, they also ask for very high, and compared to our generation for like fresh grads. Does loyalty mean anything to them?
Yeah.
Nothing? No.
No loyalty. No loyalties from Gen Z.
No, easy for them to change the decision in the short terms because of impulsivity.
So,
based on the research, the part of the generation that very loyal to the process is the baby boomers of X generation.
Yeah.
Help.
You
Help
can
to
stay.
me.
You can
That
stay in
is
the
my first time
company.
reveal my generation. I'm so loyal, you know.
You can stay
For
in
your
the company
information.
for like 20, 30 years, but because they had the opportunity back then. Now, you know, employment isn't like that anymore.
Yes.
Everything is contract-based.
Yes.
That's millennial foe.
Everything has changed today because Gen Z love to have a new opportunity, new salary, new positions, and new challenge. Similar with we playing with the game.
So in terms of career,
Change the level.
in terms of career
game,
and
guys.
jobs for
Yes,
Gen Z, how should we make them realize it is also the long process they need to know
Yes. So
achieving the career?
yeah, we should to teach our children since they were a kids with the positive value. Loyalty is a kind of value that we should to put on our brain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Loyalty.
Baby boomers, Z generation have a loyalty value on the brain. So not easy for them to change that everything.
Okay. So no loyalties for Gen Zs in workplace or, you know, when talking about jobs. But if we're talking about relationships,
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Next
Do you
question.
think the divorce rate is gonna go up higher even than it is now?
you have to be loyal, you know. And if you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, what's gonna happen to them?
Mostly Gen Z love a challenge relationship. So when they face maybe for the partner, it's not a challenge anymore for them. It's not interesting anymore for me.
A generation of Ariuses. No, I'm
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is it's very ironic, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so against toxic relationships, but they're very toxic because they have zero value of loyalty.
Yes.
That's scary. I'm not trying to generalize, but I do see the
several of
pattern.
them.
Yeah.
Even though the relationship is toxic,
Yeah.
but the toxic is become a challenge for them.
So they stay.
It becomes
they
toxic
stay on the
positivity.
relationship. It's not easy for them to make a decision to cut off the relation.
Okay, a lot of more homework for us parents.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Too juicy.
Myth or fact? Gen Z has a shorter attention span compared to previous generations.
It's a fact.
Right?
Yes, it's a fact. Yes.
But that's us though, Akir.
Yeah, I know. It's
ADHD problems. We're basically Gen Z.
So how should we manage in some of this issue?
Yeah, we can help the Gen Z to make a priority in life.
Priority.
Yeah, so they have to focus to solve or to finish one thing, and then after that they can change to another thing.
So keeps giving them projects,
Yes.
projects for projects.
Yeah.
Oh, but not everything at once, but like...
No, they cannot manage the impulsivity.
Yeah, but we want so bad to finish everything at once, right?
All right, we have one last myth or fact. Gen Z is characterized by a strong desire for instant gratification. I think we mentioned this earlier.
Flexing.
Yes, of
The
course.
fact
That's
that-
a fact.
Yeah.
The fact that we spoke to one of our colleagues who is a Generation Z and I asked him, instant noodles or the cup noodles or instant noodles? They went for cup noodles, which
Yeah,
is
they
even
did.
more instant than instant noodles. tastes very different.
Yeah,
from
sure.
mindset.
Very instant. Because they always exposure to the social media, instantly get appreciation from the others. Less than 1 second, maybe they get 1,000 appreciation.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, congratulations to you.
Yes.
Gets
The neural
1,000
pathway
likes.
will make a simple memory about that. It's not easy to change.
My God.
And
I mean, you know, my children, I haven't give any permission for
Social
having
media.
any social media account for them. But I'm thinking they are already in their addiction by themselves. For example, because of the WhatsApp. Because they tend to, my daughters tend to have the addiction to WhatsApp, and my son tend to have the addiction to YouTube Shorts. It's not a social media like Instagram, TikTok yet.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Anything that has content.
Even any
Yes.
posts, yeah.
Yeah.
So how then we solve it?
It's like, how? How did I fix my problem at home?
Yes, I know. I will practice it tonight or this morning.
At the first, we can give them a permission to the social media with one-way interaction only.
One-way interaction.
One-way interaction only. Maybe they watch the YouTube or another video, one-way interaction. But Instagram, TikTok, or another social media, two-way communication, easy for them to interact with each other.
Yeah.
It's easy for them to get addiction with that.
WhatsApp is a little bit different though, right? Because WhatsApp is actually conversing. WhatsApp is conversing. You don't necessarily get instant gratification in a conversation.
Yeah.
But there's still a difference there, right?
Conversation with the others by using WhatsApp can lead us to the addiction also.
Yes.
In the morning,
That's
just check
happening
the
to my
notification
daughter.
from the group. Or
I think we need to be better role models.
Yeah, I know. Because my son told me that.
But you do that
Do the same thing.
You're doing the same thing.
It's like, wow, I'm scared of your kids.
Because they're so intelligent, right? In finding the reason and giving any...
You gotta be more intelligent than them.
Oh my God. Big homework for us.
Don't let them bully us.
yes, try to find another strategy to find the young generation. We just to face the simple strategy with them.
Well, you know what, FB, this should be going on for hours and hours and hours if we talk about the woes of having to parent preteens and children who already have access to social media. But thank you so much for coming. This was definitely a very fruitful discussion, and hopefully for all of our viewers.
Yeah, and definitely you should come again here for another topics.
Yes.
Because it's actually important.
Yes, and we as parents always want to take notes, of course. Accurate indefinitely will seize more. And after this, the conversation will continue for us. But we're going to take a short break, and we're going to play a game, if I'm not mistaken. After this, stay tuned.
Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick.
Point to Manado on the smash. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
The China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, the 3-Hour News Show, yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi. Anjay, aku deportasi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik ya.
Aduh ya Allah. Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Since it's almost end of the week, let's play a game. Now this game is really special because the last time I played this game, my daughter was in the studio watching and she asked her father to buy this exact game on the same day. It's fun.
I haven't played it yet
yes,
before.
So this is Tetris Stacko.
Gosh.
So how do we play it? We're gonna have first. It's time to play. See the game. Are you ready for Tetris Stacko? Now,
for this,
I know Tetris.
I'm ready.
I don't know what Tetris Stacko.
So Tetris is the one that we play in video games.
Yes.
Now, as Efni has mentioned before, we need some non-digital time, so we're going to do Tetris manually. So what you're going to do is there are blocks here, and you're going to dig and get one, and you're going to place the blocks on the Stacko.
Okay.
And make sure that you don't tip it off balance. So the one
key is balance, yeah?
who destroys or tips it off balance loses.
Okay.
Got a prize today.
So, you know, have you recognized what kind of prize is it?
It looks
spicy.
Spicy.
Yummy and spicy.
Yes.
Spicy.
Since we are talking about Ganzi, we will always create viral contents, particularly on TikTok.
And
so the prize today is a viral food on social media called gohyang, a traditional Chinese dish. So it's come from not too far from here, from Cikini Gondang, right?
Is it like the song?
Like the song, right. So let's just begin with our traditional.
Oh yeah, home pimpa.
Home pimpa. What is it in English, home pimpa?
I don't think there's
one.
one.
It's mini, mini, move.
A bit similar to mini, mini, move.
Yeah. Okay.
Home pimpa layung gambreng.
Gambreng.
Okay, go first.
So I go first. Okay.
Yeah.
Rock, scissors, paper. Yes, you're right.
Let you do.
Rock, scissors, paper. Rock, scissors, paper. What kind of paper is it? But I want it.
Okay, so me, Akir, and Yani, right?
Okay.
All right. Me first. Start.
Okay, you managed.
Okay. Oh.
Careful. Okay, let's just keep it outside. Okay.
I mean it.
Yeah. Let's just keep it out.
Okay, take this one.
Yeah, 3D. Okay.
3D. Oh, it's so harmful. Oh, no. How about this one? Is it impossible?
No. Steady hands, Akir. Steady hands.
Oh my God, I'm shaking.
Oh my God, I'm shaking.
Yani.
My goodness.
Okay. I think I'll buy this one as well for learning process at home, right?
It's patience.
Patience.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, but can I?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, let me hold it for you.
Okay, thank you.
So far, so good.
Oh, 3D. What do I do with this one?
I'm shaking.
Oh my goodness.
My God. No, that's dangerous, I think.
That's dangerous. Don't do it.
We shouldn't tell her.
But everything is dangerous.
Ooh.
No. This is a little bit difficult.
I can just. No, I won't tell you.
Yay!
Okay, you shake it.
Stop moving. Oh, that was a good one. Woo.
Okay.
This is nerve-wracking.
I try to get this one.
Okay, stop moving.
Can I put it here? Hey!
Good one. Steady hand.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, I'll hold it. Okay.
Steady hand. Steady hand.
What is this? Hold on.
The thingy.
It's very wobbly today. It's much wobblier than usual. I think this table is not stable.
Table is not stable.
You distracted her.
Aduh, really?
Oh.
Wow.
You make it stable actually, Yani. I hold it.
This is difficult. I'm crying. Damn. This is hard, man.
You should more
Really?
have some exercise because your daughter has bought it, right?
Oh, yes. No, she didn't.
I totally did.
All right.
And because Akira's already locked the left side.
Yeah, he did.
How about this one?
Don't kill yourself.
Allow me to move. So over here.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, be careful.
Careful.
The table is not stable.
Oh, wow.
That's what you're gonna do? Okay.
You're not allowed to touch. But I know.
Can I touch it? No.
No, not allowed to touch it. But I think you can if you have steady hands. What is this?
Am I lost? Am I lost?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, Akira's out.
Oh, okay. It's me against you?
Oh no, this is.
I don't want to play against her. She's good.
No, I'm not that good.
But I think you have more opportunity since I already make it fall.
Oh, this is hard. Oh, yeah.
Which part?
Hard.
Oh.
Just try it. Put it there.
This
Why is it so wobbly? Hold on.
I'll
One second.
Okay, Akira's job is to keep the table stable.
Got it.
Table stable. Oh no.
Oh no.
So
That's
good. That's so good, Yani.
But we can't do anything here, right?
No, we can't.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
What is all this dust?
Time is it. Okay.
Oh, see?
Come on, Yani. I hold it.
This is rewarding. But it's so difficult. Careful. Table stable. Stable table. What? Akira, don't move it.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
Wow! I think I'm gonna lose the next one. This is really tough.
Use your amygdala, please. It's a long process of learning.
It's moving.
I'm holding my breath.
I'm only remember. I don't know where else to put it because if I put it anywhere on the side, it will fall. What are the producers saying?
Come on.
Oh, what's an L? Static.
It's snowing.
I can't. I don't know how to do this.
Over there or on the top of it?
Ooh. Ooh.
Right?
No.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want.
What was that? Oh my goodness.
We're trying to get heavy on that side. Oh, I just gave away my secret. This one's tough.
Oh God.
Oh goodness.
This one's tough.
Ooh. Be on that side.
Wow, what a game!
Okay, congrats, this guy.
This has got to be the best Tetris Stacko that we've done so far in the News Show, right?
I know, and you know.
All the way until up here was a Babylon.
Yeah, the price is gohyo with some taberawit, you know.
Yeah.
Some
The thing
chili.
is, I cannot do taberawit, so I will
Yani,
officially give my present to Yani and to
We're the one who will eat it.
enjoy the goyong.
Yeah.
Is it something like fuyung hai? No.
I don't know.
Or is it like
Oh, thank you.
corn?
Okay.
You guys go try.
Okay. Why it's so viral?
Yeah. Why is it viral? It's like
So Genzi
corned
creative.
beef with eggs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? My mom used to make something like this. Corned beef.
Like rolade?
Yeah. Oh, look at all that chili. It's giving me a tummy ache, guys. But I know you guys love chili.
It's great. And
Spicy?
No, not too spicy, I think. Really?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it spicy?
No, it's not.
Okay, now that I'm curious, they said it's not spicy. And if they lie to me, they will pay for it. Yeah. All right. So we're going to have more of goyong while we go on a short break. And after the break, we'll be back with your daily dose of entertainment. Thank you for watching. See the game. It was a fun one today. Woo! You don't want to miss entertainment.
China Earthquake Network Center reported that the quake rocked the Ertupen County in Aksu Prefecture shortly after 2 a.m. local time.
Minister January Makamba was a guest in one of our news programs, a 3-hour news show yesterday. While he was in the studio, he used the opportunity to explain the current state of diplomatic ties between Tanzania and Indonesia.
Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the UN Security Council during an open debate in New York.
Ini adalah open debate Dewan Keamanan PBB ketiga mengenai Gaza dalam 3 bulan terakhir dan Indonesia hadir di ketiganya.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Kind of 10 days, the priority has been getting to California and making the miles and saving our money as best we can.
But we're going to ride 80 miles tomorrow. We've just ridden 70 and we're all starving.
Took the first couple of corners and felt pretty comfortable, so I thought I might get it.
So that was just too much rear brake, stalled the engine.
The end of the first day of competition.
The winner of the challenge today was Brodie.
Revealed today by generations unborn when they weaved their spell. The Couple Dreams. It's football's biggest prize on the greatest stage.
Now, while still enjoying the goyong, it's also time for some entertainment news.
You know Miss Whale Kai?
Oh, yeah, everyone's still enjoying the goyong. Well, I'll let them. So let's take a look at our first entertainment news. The critically acclaimed Tiger Stripes will be released on Netflix on February 14th. Let's have a look.
Tiger Stripes won the Best Film Award at the Cannes Critics Week 2023 and marked a collaborative work of Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Singapore, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and Qatar. Directed by Amanda Nelliu and produced by Kawan Kawan Media, the film is set to debut on Netflix on February 14th, with plans for a theatrical release in Australia and New Zealand later this month. This coming-of-age movie follows Zafan, a 12-year-old girl living in a small rural village in Malaysia. Zafan, who's the first among her friends to undergo puberty, unravels a distressing secret about her body. Having fear of being labeled as a monster, Zafan struggles to conceal her unique identity at school, yet faces rejection from her peers. She eventually decides to embrace her true self, breaking free from societal norms. Are you interested in watching this movie?
Well, there you have it. Something to watch over the weekend, perhaps, guys.
Yeah.
It'll be airing on Netflix very, very soon on Valentine's Day.
I will watch it with my daughter because
it's a coming-of-age movie.
Yes.
Well,
the same age movie with my the same age from the Netflix and my daughter's age.
Ah.
18th era, you know, with any rebel activities.
Well, you just got to be prepared to answer a lot of questions, okay?
To be smarter.
Do not let the children bully you. That's what we learned during, the conversation we had with Effie before. Now, thank you for watching, because that does it for today's episode of the 3-Hour News Show. And see today, the very first day of February. It's officially time for we all to start on our resolutions now. Be sure to also follow us on social media through Instagram, X, and YouTube channel at See Today News.
Can I finish it? No. Okay. I'll read it first. I'll finish
you want me to read it for you?
I know, no. So, See Today can now be enjoyed in Australia on Voxtel OTT platform, Flash app, or in Macau Cable TV Channel 84, or if you're in the Philippines, you can also watch us on the Conference Vision Channel 58, and if you're in Singapore, watch us on Singtel Singapore Channel 15.
Okay, you can continue eating.
Okay.
For Telkomsel users, you can also watch See Today on the MaxStream app. Don't forget to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same channel. And be sure to also catch our morning show every single day at 6 a.m. I'm Hiliani Hidranto.
My name is Muhammad Ahir, with Miss Goyong.
And I'm Kai Surya, and we're going to go straight back into the goyong. But before that, let's say together.
See Indonesia, see the world, see today. And see this goyong, right?
isunya ditolak udah.
Udah.
Oke.
Hi guys.
Halo.
Thank you for coming to Body Talk ya.
Oh, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.
By the way, aku boleh nggak nanya-nanya beberapa pertanyaan sembari kalian siap-siap?
Yes,
Yep.
boleh.
Tadi kesini sepedaan?
No.
No, we're not riding a bike.
Yeah.
We're driving a car today.
Because it's so
Okay.
far from our house.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I have to keep my makeup neat. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Flawless banget sih makeupnya hari ini.
I do, iya.
Apakah bersepeda itu merupakan kontribusi kecil kalian untuk mengurangi produksi karbon?
Yeah, I think if we can ride a bike for our daily life, for a very, in a short or a long trip, I think it's a very important to, like reducing the carbon emission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's possible, of course.
If it's possible, yeah.
Don't push it.
Yeah, just make it fun.
Yep.
Menurut kalian nih, manfaat bersepeda bagi kesehatan batin kalian tuh apa?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of like reflection
Yeah.
of our past, like. And
Exactly. Yeah, Mas Reza is often like reflection
Yeah.
while riding a bike.
Yeah.
And then for me, it feels like I have some empowerment because I can have freedom to decide which path I want without stuck in a traffic jam.
Yep.
So I think, yeah, that's kind of freedom